Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison. I want to welcome you to this session of Humanity Rising. As we begin today, I want to continue my reporting on what's going on here in Washington as the Senate and the House consider the UAP Disclosure Act, arguably the most important piece of legislation in human history. Legislation that will begin, if enacted, a 7-year process of disclosure around all the evidence that the U.S. government and contracting corporations have gathered since the Second World War, nearly 80 years, concerning UFOs. And so this battle is now joined as the Senate and House joint armed services committees meet to make final decisions on the entire National Defense Authorization Act, but in particular, the amendments submitted by Senator Schumer and Senator Rounds, a Republican of Idaho, joining with a bipartisan consensus out of the Senate Intelligence Committee, is now thrashed through, and decisions are going to be made within a matter of days. One of the things that's happening today is that immediately, actually after Humanity Rising, in about 90 minutes, there's going to be a press conference by members of the House of Representatives, mostly Republicans, that have been actively supporting the UAP disclosure. It was one of the most extraordinary House hearings back in July, on July 26, when David Grush and 2 other military intelligence personnel talked about the realities of what they call UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomena, and the startling assertion by David Grush that alien craft exist, alien bodies exist that have been retrieved by the U.S. government. He also revealed that there's been active lying to the Congress and other branches of government. People, including himself, have been persecuted. And he even acknowledged that in some cases, people have been murdered who've been trying to bring to light this information. So the fact that there's now going to be a press conference by members of Congress is really unprecedented and indicates the volatility of this 80-year campaign to suppress information about UFOs, now called UAP. And so when you think about the most closely guarded secret in history starting to see the light of day by congressional legislation, with all kinds of whistleblowers now coming into the public domain, increasing press coverage, increasing awareness that we're about ready as a human species to realize globally, all at the same time, that we are not alone. The momentousness of this moment begins to take enhanced credibility in one's mind. And I think it's within this context that I want to point to the major areas of resistance as the battle is unfolding here in Washington. There are basically 2 areas where the tension and the fault lines lie. One is, who owns the intellectual property? Here you have extraterrestrial technology, so far advanced beyond human technology at the moment that we can't even comprehend it. Who owns it? Well, the corporations who have been working secretly with the Pentagon, in some cases for 50, 60 years, to reverse engineer this technology, say it's theirs. They want the IP, and they don't want to give it up. They are the major forces blocking disclosure, the defense aerospace corporations. And they've enlisted Mitch McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader. They've enlisted the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. They've already got Mike Rogers, the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, and Mike Turner, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, in their back pocket, because if you look at their contribution list, they give massive amounts of money to all the members of the armed services and intelligence committees, but particularly the chair people. And so that is going to be at the heart of this struggle. The Schumer Amendment, the amendment that's being submitted by Tim Burchett, which is even more demanding than the Schumer-Rounds Amendment, is basically saying this information belongs to the US government. It belongs to the American people. So that is the struggle. And in the United States, where the corporate sector rules supreme, like the priests ruled in the Middle Ages, and kings and queens ruled in the traditional nation-state period, corporations now rule supreme in the United States, in Europe, and in many countries around the world. So to take on the corporate sector around something like who owns extraterrestrial technology, you can just imagine the energy and the concentration to make sure that the language of whatever passes is the way either the corporations want it or the people want it. That's the main battle line. Secondly, is the question of amnesty. Any neutral observer that's looked at the last 80 years, just under 80 years, I think it's 78 years since the end of the Second World War, and sees what the government has been doing to suppress this information. It is a narrative of violation of human rights, violation of free speech, active physical intimidation, destruction of careers, even murder. And I say that not just as me, but that is what David Grush and other whistleblowers have been saying in open public testimony under oath. So when you think about this saga starting to come to the light of day, it's not just the evidence of extraterrestrial presence and technology. It's the narrative of how this was kept secret for so long and how. And if so, if there's been violations of the Constitution, does somebody go to jail? Does somebody go to trial? Is there an amnesty? Is there just a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, as they did in South Africa, where all you had to do is kind of confess, and then there was reconciliation and forgiveness? So these are some of the issues that are beginning to surface as this UAP Disclosure Act is working its way through the final reconciliation in the final literally week to 10 days before there's closure and a vote on the part of the reconciliation groups, drawn, as I indicated, largely from the Armed Services Committees of the Senate and the House, and then voted by the larger House and the Senate for signature by President Biden, ideally, hopefully, on and around the 20th or the 21st of December. So that's the situation as we find ourselves today. I'll give you further updates tomorrow as this thing plays out. But I want to welcome everyone to Humanity Rising. And now we'll turn to our subject. We are now entering our 4th of 5 sessions on the Adulting Alliance, which is dedicated to empowering young people to live more robust and authentic and abundant lives. So I would like to invite my good friend and colleague, Dehanna Rice, who will introduce the program. Thank you, everyone, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Jim. Wow, my heart is so heavy with that. It's just so about humanity coming to terms with that repression. It's so heavy, and it's always about the corporations and the bottom line. When are we going to flip this consciousness on the planet so it's human-centric, or life's all 100% of life? And I really bless you on your journey. It's been a tumultuous time, but an exciting one. And we stand by you. You know that, this whole community. So expanding on that truth is so important. Many blessings to everyone. This is our 4th day. I'm so excited for it. It is divine that we are together with this beautiful woman that I'm about to introduce. I am just thinking about my heart. I need to do a little practice for the heart. So I always start out with a little bit of that. And this is also focusing on the Adulting Alliance. It is supporting 18 to 25-year-olds when they are in the transformational time. If they're leaving their home and a college career, we are here as an alliance to support them with life tools that can really give them strength when obstacles arise and turn them into opportunities. That is our impetus as a group. As Stan said in the green room, we have become a family, and it is so true. I'm so honored to be with these miraculous people. I just want to do a little practice, and then we'll go into Anasuya's presentation. So like I said, the heart is so important. We need to work with the heart. We need to heal the heart, right? And there is some very simple imagery exercises I have not introduced the community to this week yet. And I'm a hypnotherapist, and I work with Dr. Jerry Epstein's model. He's not with us anymore. He was a Freudian trained psychiatrist that had a euphoric experience with his teacher in Israel and started doing imagery work, which goes all the way back to the Mesopotamian era. And some of these exercises, I believe, if you know Rupert Sheldrake's work, are entering into morphogenetic fields. I have had some euphoric experience as well that are mystical in studying imagery. So I invite you to unbusy your hands. We're going to do a little bit of imagery for the heart, and then we're going to do some breath work and some sound to let our hearts relax and let go. But this one is a beautiful couple of exercises for our hearts. Your hands or palms are down on your lap. Your feet are flat, and I invite you to lower your eyes if you feel comfortable. We're going to use our imaginations to start to prepare us for imagery. And I want you to imagine breathing in through the nose, blue sky and golden sunshine. Breathing in, blue sky, golden sunshine. And breathing out through the mouth, gray smoke. See the smoke dissipate in front of you in the form of norepinephrine. The main stress hormone is leaving. Breathing in again, blue sky, golden sunshine, everything that is healthy. And breathing out gray smoke, letting go all that stress hormone through the mouth. And one more time, breathing in, blue sky, golden sunshine from very, very far away. And breathing out gray smoke. See it dissipate from very, very far away. Now, breathe normally. I want you to imagine you unzip your chest wall and pull out your anatomical heart with your right hand. And see in the heart any arrows of hurt. And I want you to pull those arrows out and throw them to the left in the past, letting them go. Massaging your heart, seeing if there's any splinters left. Grabbing those splinters again, throwing them to the left. Seeing the heart pink up with new energy as those arrows are removed. Replace it back into the chest wall. Zip up your chest. See, sense, and feel what happens with that new heart, released of all that hurt. Breathe out through your mouth. And now let's again unzip the chest wall, pull out the anatomical heart. And this time I want you to toss it up into the cosmos. Really high into all the energy of the universe and all the colors of the universe entering your heart. See the heart come down into the heart field again. Now it is a crystal heart, like a prism, reflecting all the colors of the universe. Again, replace it into the chest wall, zip up the chest. Now imagine and see this new crystal heart and how it is operating with a new system in the body, new energy, new light. Feel, sense, and see what happens. Breathe out through your mouth and open your eyes. So that is just so invigorating to our actual anatomical heart. And I love that exercise. I've done it for years with clients. And I'd like to continue, like I said, for the heart field. We're going to do a ha breath, which we did yesterday. This is really connecting to the energy of emotion that is stuck in our bodies. Sometimes the organ system holds different emotions, like the liver holds some anger, the gallbladder, old rage, old anger, the kidneys hold fear, the pelvic basin, it's theorized, holds frustration. So we're bringing that energy up from our body's emotional energy, and we're releasing it through the throat, making a sound, a ha sound. This is also throughout the history of Qigong and martial arts. They've done so many different types of ha breaths, but this one is specifically for the heart region. And I want you to pull yourself back so you have energy or space in front of you, because I'm going to do all of these sitting. And what we're going to do, I'm going to show you on the side. We're going to breathe in, bringing our palms up next to our heart. And then we're going to release the ha breath by almost like you're flicking water off your hands and making a ha sound. So let's do that together. Breathing in, the hands come in, and breathing out, ha. Again, breathing in, ha. Let it go. Breathing in, ha. Two more, ha, ha. And lower your eyes, feel the change. I know I'm feeling it in my body. Some of that stress gone, letting go, feeling that. Beautiful. Now we're going to do a little bit of the breath work, which we all need at this time. Listening to Jim, I know you probably need a little bit, and this is such an easy way to bring our brains and our heart into coherence. And really everything measurable in the body goes optimal. Everything, every system in the body. They've done studies with this breath work for over 20 years. So this is the 2-bell track we breathe with for the 5 breaths per minute. Lowering your eyes, sensing your inner self. There's a high tone we breathe in, and a low tone we breathe out. Together, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, breathing in as if you're sipping the air through a straw gently, and breathing out through the nose, letting go. Breathing in as if you're on a beach and a wave is washing up you, and breathing out as the wave washes down. Breathing in, the wave is washing up the sides of you, and breathing out, the wave washes down. Now, using your imaginations, imagine the wave inside of you washing up. And as you breathe out, the wave washes down the balls of the feet, kidney 1 point, letting go. Breathing in through the inside of the body, new energy, and letting go stale, old energy through the kidney 1 point. Breathing in, the energy rises inside, and breathing out, the energy lets go. Let's do one circuit for the heart. Breathing in, the left palm, left arm up to the heart, and breathing out, the right arm, the right palm, letting go. Breathing in, new energy up the right arm, up to the heart field as it expands, and breathing out, the left arm, left palm. Breathing in, left arm again, up to the heart, feeling that energy expanding, and letting go the right palm. Breathing in, right arm up to the heart, and breathing out, left palm. Feeling that whole circuit invigorating as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, letting go old energy. Breathing in new energy into your heart. Breathing out, letting go. One more time, breathing in, heart field expands, and breathing out, the heart releases. Beautiful. Let's just feel that change in the body. I'm feeling the mind quiet down. My body is relaxed more. Feeling that. Just a beautiful sound healing with a tuning fork. Feeling that move through your bodies and your brain. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Wonderful. So, I am so excited about this presentation today. This beautiful woman, I want to tell you how I met her, as I've been mentioning this week, how I've come together with this team. And it was at, again, Unity in Marin, my community that I love for spiritual guidance. And I've been involved with Unity churches all the way back when I was 18. I went to the Unity main center, Unity Village in Kansas City, Missouri. It's outside of it. But I raised my son in New York with Eric Butterworth, and he was extraordinary. He would speak at Avery Fisher Hall. So I've been involved with them for so long, and I went to an event for the Black Madonna, and I saw this beautiful Black woman on stage, and I'm like, I've got to meet this person, because she just had so much information about the Black Madonna. And I think Mary Magdalene, we were celebrating the life of. It's funny because everybody, breaks out and they do healing around the sanctuary. And I kept waiting in line to go on her chair. And every time there was multiple practitioners near her, I couldn't get to her chair. I came like twice, and I don't get to, because I wanted to talk to her. And Stephanie Schwartz, who presented it on Tuesday, said, I met her. And I was like, oh, I got to meet with her on Zoom. And the minute that we met, there was so much interesting trajectory of our lives, how we've crossed paths. We've lived in New York similar times. She went to Paris. I lived in Barcelona. And it just was beautiful to really learn more and more about how her life had unfolded. So I want to invite her on. I'm going to just describe who she is. Anasuya Isaacs is a mystic midwife. She creates a brave space for individuals to reclaim their divine self-worth through immersive workshops that celebrate our shared human experience across cultures, races, and faiths. Her global journey across 24 countries, wow, that is so cool, informs her healing practice, transforming personal adversities into sources of strength. Anasuya's compassionate outreach has touched lives from homeless youth to survivors of abuse and refugees. Welcome. So good to have you, dear, here.
Oh, thank you so much, Dehanna, for not only inviting me to this party that is the Adulting Alliance, because it's a party. It is not going to be boring classes. It's going to be fun, engaging, interactive content to stimulate their creativity and their ability to do critical analysis and really choose from their own sovereignty who they are and who they're going to be for this world. So I just thank you for this. Thank you, Humanity Rising and Ubiquity University, for hosting us and for giving us the space to share what we are cooking, what we're conjuring.
Absolutely. You go for it. I'll come back later.
That. Okay, I didn't think it was going to be that fast, but hello, beautiful.
Okay. I'll stay on. You can talk more. I'm here. Okay. I know you have a PowerPoint. No worries.
Yes, I do. I just want to say that our vision is beautiful, and this vision that we've created is really about all of us, no matter what age, because this particular program that we've created is for emerging adults 18 to 25. But really, I would like each one of you here who is listening to my voice, who is present with us, who is in this sacred circle, whether you're here live or on the recording, just to be in this moment, like,
Yeah.
take a breath, because Dehanna led us back into our heart. So as we're in our heart, let us remember what it was like for us to be 18 years old. Let's just go back in time and remember, what choices were we in front of? What overwhelming choices were in front of us? School, more school, what kind of school, where to go to school, no school, military, get married, don't get married, run away, don't run away, stay home, leave home, go where? So many choices at 18.
Definitely.
We were all 18. We weren't afraid of getting trafficked. We weren't afraid of getting snatched. We weren't afraid of going to school and not coming home because there was a mass shooter.
Mm.
We weren't afraid of, well, some of us, it's contextual, but in general, these are the things that the kids today have to contend with.
Right.
And that's all children, right? And then you have the specifics. Black children have to worry about the police killing them or stopping them or arresting them for no reason. But that's been all going. It's just gotten worse because they're now more vigilantes. Right now there's more anti-Blackness, there's more anti-Semitism, there's more Islamophobia. So there's more of that for children who are not white going on.
Yeah.
There's just much more things that these kids have to contend with. When we were 18 to 25, we didn't have to worry about bullying to the degree that's happening because of the internet. Cyberbullying, when you have thousands of strangers attacking you, destroying you. It was bad enough to have the bully in your classroom or on the playground. Can you imagine if your entire city was against you and you never met them, they never met you? That's what kids are dealing with today.
Yeah.
Kids have access to being preyed upon because of the internet.
Yeah.
Being introduced to porn, being all kinds of things that we didn't have to deal with. So I want us to not only listen to like, oh, poor kids, but there's the 18-year-old in us that's crying to be healed, that's looking for soothing, that didn't get her or his issues addressed. There's all kinds of expressions that didn't get healed. I mean, 18 to 25 is a whole kind of coming out process, or feeling stuck in, or feeling trapped, or feeling lost. That's a pivotal time when a whole era, K through 12, is over. But the next what is maybe not clear. So I just would like all of us to participate, as not only were we once 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, but we may have children who are that age, or we may have children who are that age, or grandchildren, or we may actually just have people in our lives that are young people who have questions that really would like our eldering.
Right.
And I say eldering because anyone 5 minutes older than these kids could elder them, because we just know that much more, but 5 years, 10 years, 20, we can actually give them some guidance. And I invite everyone, you don't have to be in the Adulting Alliance to give guidance to the young people around you. Please speak up. Please share your wisdom. Please share your gifts with them, because they need it.
Yeah.
We were latchkey kids in my generation, but these kids are latchkey everything. Like they feel like they don't have a lot of guidance. Who are their aunties and uncles, as we say in the Black community, we're the aunties, people will just step in when your mama's not there because she got to work. Someone else is stepping in saying, yo, you shouldn't be doing that. Go tell my mama, they were not stepping up anymore.
I
So,
love that. Yeah.
so this is where I'm inviting all of us to have this intention as we go through my very short presentation, just to remember that our voice matters. These
Yes.
courses matters. Empowering young people matters. And we all can make that difference with Ubiquity University. We all can be a part of eldering.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
To me, it sounds Native American. The elders were always revered. Sometimes the parents were so young when they had the children, the grandparents raised the children because
yeah.
of the wisdom. So it's so important to open our hearts to the youth, all of us, and really have that. It takes a village, right, to raise a
It
child.
always has. It always has. And I was very blessed to have a village because my mother was so active in the movement. And because the 70s was a volatile time, and because there was so much backlash against progress, integration, my mother was gone a lot. So I was raised until 8 years, 8, 9,
Well,
9
maybe
years
some of
old
the
by my
people
grandmother.
watching didn't hear that on our first day when you shared, because I didn't know that your mother was in the civil rights movement in DC. I'd love to know more about what you, as a youth, were exposed to, and what instigated, this journey for you.
All right. And if anyone has any questions, Dehanna will be reading the chat and she will get it to me. I won't necessarily be very good at navigating the chat, but I am interested in engaging with everyone after my PowerPoint presentation. So just so you know, questions are welcomed. Okay, so in terms of this one, because this is no small thing, uh, it's not a simple question. I'm sorry, it is a simple question. The answer is not simple. Okay, it's a simple question. It's not a quick answer. There you go. So briefly as possible, my mother was going to Spelman College, and a lot of the civil rights movement started in the South. She was down in Georgia, and so the students were walking out. They were sitting in, they were marching, they were leaving schools. My mother was at risk of getting kicked out several times, losing her scholarship because this was not allowed. People look back on the civil rights movement with such fondness. Oh, those kids were so brave and it was so great. It was dangerous. People don't realize the risk of life that took place. You might think of it just in terms of the police and the dogs attacking them, and the water hoses, and all that was real. And the churches getting bombed and the lynchings, that was real. But it was actually dangerous just to leave your school when you're supposed to be in there, because many kids were there on scholarships and they didn't approve of that. The schools were not in line with the movement. They were not in line with disrupting and inviting trouble, inviting backlash. Because if a school was seen as being a part of rabble rousing, causing disruption, and challenging the Jim Crow and racism of the time, it would be nothing for the rioters, the Klan rioters, to come and bomb the school, not just to take the student. It would come back to the school. So the schools were not for it because it brought so much danger to everybody, not just the student. So it really did take something to go out anyway. It wasn't like if you lost your scholarship, another one was coming. This was the 60s. Black people were barely getting the money for anything. So if you lose your scholarship, you are really going to be out of school. So kids were taking an immense risk, and they're 17, 18, 19, 20. Some kids marching were 10, 11, 12. People don't realize that. Kids were walking out of school, all kinds of grades at age, and it was dangerous. So I just, in terms of your question about my mother being involved, my mother's been a fighter her whole life. She's always been someone who fought for the underdog. She's always was somebody who stood up for what was right, starting with defending my grandmother against my grandfather. My grandfather was a great leader in the community. He was very active in politically active, but he also was somebody who was quite oppressed and wasn't able to use his master's degree the way he wanted to. So he was given very low paying jobs that didn't honor his intelligence and capacity. And he took that frustration out on my grandmother. And my mother interceded quite a bit and fought back. My mother at the time was 5'2" and weighed 100 pounds. And my grandfather was 6'4", but she would fight him. So she learned very early, you have to fight for your voice, your safety, your well-being. And so I learned very importantly that my mouth can make a difference even if I'm tiny. Even if the person is 3 times my size, I still have to speak up and speak out if something's wrong. And so she did. She went on to become an attorney and then later a judge, all inside of how can I how can I fix an injustice? How can I right a wrong? How can we use the law and the system to do good, using the same laws that we use to do very bad, to do a lot of oppression? So that was the model I was witnessed. Growing up in the 70s, the second wave of integration, I suffered a lot of racism. Once I left my all Black community and integrated and became one of very few Black students in all white schools, it was a whole different world. And it was very violent and it was very ugly and it caused a lot of grief for me, but it did teach me once I survived it, and it wasn't sure I was going to survive it. Because my overwhelming response to so much hatred from people who were my teachers, who I had my only experience of teachers before were loving, kind, very invested in me, very much wanting me to succeed, but they were Black teachers pouring into Black students. These white teachers did not have any investment in my development, my evolution, me discovering my brilliance. I didn't see anything good about me. I didn't see anything worthy about me in that all-white school. I saw failure and ugliness and stupidity. And so I thought at 12, the best solution is to take my own life and start again, or just be done with it. Having come through that, okay, so since I'm still here and there's something else for me to do, I started looking for, okay, the world could see me this way. How can I see myself?
Right.
How am I going to see myself? And it took a while to develop that voice, and I'll say more of that in the slideshow. But I did learn through fire how important it is that we are encouraged, motivated, inspired, and supported in knowing our own heart and discovering our own soul purpose and finding a way to walk it. Because even if when we do know our soul purpose, and when we do have the courage to go for it, we will have obstacles. Things will come to thwart it. And we have to also know how to keep being resilient and persist. Because really, our voice is needed, but there's more interest in us being the cookie cutter, box ticker, fit in the mold than it is for us to be our true selves. So it really takes something. And I don't invite young people to do this lightly, because the pushback can be painful. The pushback can be dangerous. We still have to do it.
Right. I mean, this is what Jim's going through, right, with the pushback for the alien issue. But I'm so honoring your journey, what you've gone through as a child, and just being exposed to all that intensity. And we're talking about the white schools in this was DC area. It's not the South like your mother, right?
No, well, DC technically is in the South.
Is it?
It's below the Mason-Dixon line. Sure is. But it doesn't matter, because I've talked to many young Black students who are my age or younger, so therefore coming up later. And this is whether you go to an all-white school in the Midwest, the South, up in Boston, in California, it doesn't matter. It's the same. And unfortunately, very little has changed now. Wow. I talk to young people today, and their experiences are almost photocopies of mine. So very little has changed in that regard.
Well, this is why we need you so much. We need this voice, your voice, and how to connect to that divine presence and empower yourself through these trials and tribulations. The Black and brown, community is still being in a pigeonhole, and not, your intelligence is so expansive. I mean, you're a diplomat, like you wanted to do that, right? As your trajectory.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I think because I have been in many instances the only Black person here, or the only American here, and the only woman. I've been an only person in many, many situations. And my original desire as a child was to be a diplomat. I really wanted to be in the Foreign Service and go and make a difference and bridge gaps and find a way to communicate with children everywhere, and really empower children. And I saw that when I was living in France, doing some of the requirements that are necessary, that I would be hired and in a position to enforce American policies, which were only good if I agreed with them. I'd have to enforce policies I knew would be detrimental, would be harmful, that would be inviolate of their autonomy and sovereignty. And I didn't want to be the Black face used to oppress people in Africa and the Caribbean, other Black people. I didn't want to be used to be that person that says, hey, we're going to give you this, but we're going to take all of that.
Yeah, right.
Okay with that.
Yeah.
Or else. Yeah, I chose not to. And my mother was quite disappointed by my change in trajectory. But I really did see that being a cultural ambassador, someone who uses the culture, whether it's theater, whether it's poetry, whether it's song, film, could change the consciousness that would bring about the revolution and encourage the independence and encourage the advocacy for their human rights in far greater ways than any diplomat could do.
Beautiful.
About interested in forcing a government to do something. I wanted the people to wake up to their own power, to change their lives, to turn their villages, their cities, their towns around. I knew that was possible, and I thought that's what the Foreign Service was for. It's not. So I said, well, people have been learning how to do this from storytelling.
Yeah.
Theater, from songs. They were motivated. That was one of the biggest weapons of the civil rights movement, was how much the culture wars were changing consciousness. When people saw film that had Black people side by whites, like Sidney Poitier, doing things where he was equal. He was a man. He was in a suit. He was getting respect. He wasn't bowing. He wasn't being called the N-word. Oh, yes, he was, actually. But anyway, it shifted the consciousness. Oh, wait, we can actually have dinner with Black people and it won't be bad. We laugh at that now, but that was unheard of. Before we saw the image, before we saw it happening, people didn't know it was possible. So then I really got the power of the arts to shift the consciousness in ways talking heads can't, teachers can't, governments can't. So I chose that kind of ambassador.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's a wow. That's what I want to read in a book or see in a movie. So fantastic. Kudos to you.
Attractions.
Not to mention her little bit of exuberance and enthusiasm, folks.
just a little. So let me get started, because I'm really mindful of the time and I don't want to go over, but I just thank you all for just remembering your emerging adult period so that we can go on this ride together. So let me just go pull it up.
Take it over.
Take it over. All right. Okay, let me see how to move. Okay, let me see how to do that. Okay, here we go. So you, each and every one of you who are watching this, you are a miracle, my beloved. So we are part of this amazing multiverse. To say universe shrinks us just too much. We are part of this multiverse of galaxies and universes and stars and planets and nebulae and supernovas and so many things that I haven't even learned the words of. All that magical space outside of us is also mirrored in us. We are all cosmic beings inside of a cosmic beings, carrying the cosmic beings inside of us. Now, this is a picture, an actual picture of a subatomic atom doing its thing, showing cosmic entanglement. So there's an atom that's split into two, the gold and the red, and then you see it spinning and changing and evolving. And what this cosmic entanglement is teaching us is that there is mirrors for us everywhere. We're entangled with everything. We may feel like we're individual, we may feel like we're all alone, we may feel like we're one, but we're really cosmically, quantumly entangled with all of creation. There is no other out there. As we move, something moves as well. There's a mirroring happening. There's an interconnectedness. There's a pull on the cosmic red thread that has us feel, it has us connected in a way that we may not be conscious of, but nevertheless we are. What did they discover? Science. They've discovered that our genetic DNA is the same in all humans, except for a few codes at the end. But that same DNA code is the same in animals, in fish, in the dragonfly, in the rosebud, in a mountain, in a rock. Huh? Yes. This thread of genetic similarity connects us and the roughly 10 million other species in the modern world to the entire history of life, back to a single common ancestor more than 3.5 billion years ago. As the evolutionary view of a single and very ancient origin of life is supported at the deepest level imaginable, the very nature of the DNA code, which has the instructions of genes and chromosomes, are written. Now, here's my favorite part here, right here. The only scientific explanation for this situation is that the genetic code, which was the result of a single historic event, this code was the one that carried by the single ancestor of life and all of its descendants, including us. We're connected. We're quantumly entangled with all of it. Let that sink in. That in the long DNA code that makes a human being, it is only the last, I wish I knew the exact number, but let's just say it's 10. Only the last 10 letters of the code makes a difference between a human and a rock and a whale and a raven, a star, and a mosquito. All that diversity and all of that oneness. So when we had that big cosmic boom, they call it the Big Bang, but I know it really is the cosmic orgasm, that the love making between love and love made love and created love and birthed love. And it was out of the waters breaking out of the heavenly womb that all of the stars and the galaxies were formed. We all came out of that washing of orgasmic bliss. Yes, we were created in love, in joy, for love, and for joy. Out of the gigantic cosmic womb. How amazing is that? And when we got to Earth, all the minerals that came from those exploding stars that were birthed in the big orgasm became the nitrogen and the iron that made our blood, and the carbon that makes our melanin, and the calcium that makes our bones, the oxygen that allows us to breathe. And all of that came from that exploding star. So yes, the red ochre in the land, the red ochre in the land is the same red ochre that makes the iron in the land and makes the red in our blood. It's all one thing. We are stardust and starshine, blissfully formed into humans, which we could have easily been a table. We could have easily been a sunflower. Same DNA code. I love that. And that was, 26 billion years ago, that explosion, that great orgasm. But 300,000 years ago, we had humans that became Homo sapiens. Now, our previous incarnation is on our way to Homo sapiens, started about 1.6 million years ago. But Homo sapiens started 300,000 years ago in Africa. Mother giving birth to daughter, giving birth to daughter, mother to daughter, mother to daughter. Our mitochondrial Eve birthed our line that was able to survive a cataclysm in Africa that sent her children out into the world, sent the children out to save themselves. So inside of her program, inside of her cells was also the code to survive at all costs. Inside of her DNA, inside of her code was survive at all costs, because she wasn't the only woman who existed. But mitochondrial Eve was the only woman who gave birth to all of us. We are the ones who survived, whereas the other ones did not. Ooh, how amazing. From a single point of entry, from a single womb, we all came. Whether it's the cosmic womb or mitochondrial Eve womb, we came from one womb. And we're birthed out in this joy, in this bliss, in this happiness, with a prayer to survive. I send you forth. And that mitochondrial gene goes from mother to daughter, mother to daughter, mother to daughter. Now, her sons have the same gene, but it just doesn't get passed down. So every one of us is here because of that mother. And how you know you're here because of that mother? Because look down at your belly. Like, take a second, look down at your belly. Now pretend you can see your belly button. That was your connection to the mother of 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 the mother, all the way back to mitochondrial Eve. Your belly button is your proof of your cosmic entanglement with the first mother, who sent us out, her children out, in all of these journeys and all of these genetic pools. This is the journey of man by genetics. Our genetics are able to be traced, how they got to populate the world that we have come to know of difference, the world of diversity, the world of many languages and cultures and looks and shapes and features and eye colors and skin tones and all. Well, That's just magic making to me. How we were able to adapt to everything we needed to adapt to survive. Taking with us the red ochre earth. Like, can you imagine all of Eve's children took some of that red dirt that she stood on, that she birthed them on. They took that red ochre with them. And how do we know? They took that red ochre, which is her blood, her lifeline, her placenta. They took it with her because when we go to the caves and see them around the world, we see the red ochre art on the walls where they told their story of their existence, where they came from, what life like was for them at that moment. They brought the red ochre with them to all of these places, and we can see their journey. They took their mother with them so they could survive. Now, okay, before I do that one. So, why am I telling you this? Oh, beautiful young person that you are. I want you to know that you are not an accident. You're not randomly here. You're not here because your parents oopsed. You're not an accident. You're not an afterthought. You're not a burden. You were orgasmically, joyfully, blissfully made with medicine. You came from that star exploding. You came and formed inside this earth, along with all the other minerals, along with all of life. You formed in the earth like the monkeys, like the butterflies, like the dragonflies, like the eagles. You came out of the earth ready. The earthen territory, the Mother Earth. You came from that with medicine. You wouldn't be here if you didn't have a purpose. There's no accidents here. There are no spare parts. You're not sitting on the bench so that in case the real star fails to do their job, okay, you get called off the bench to step in. No, 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 no. You have your own role to play. You have your own lines. You have your own storyline in this play. Your role matters. So if you're trying to play somebody else's role, if you're trying to say someone else's lines, wear somebody else's costume, be some other character, the world isn't working right. Because your medicine is uniquely yours. That's the last 10 parts of your DNA code makes you, you, you. Inside that you is your medicine that you came to bring us. And we need it. And your medicine was forged probably by your tragedies, by your pain, by your suffering. Your medicine was fine-tuned in your empathy, in your anger, in your compassion, in your rage, in your successes and your failures. All of that is helping to form your medicine that you brought to this earth that needs it. You came at the time that you came here. You came at such a time as this because what you have brought is necessary to deal with the issues that the world is going through. And you may think, I'm too small. This world is crazy. The climate is going off the world. We won't have oxygen in a hot minute. The water's going to dry up. The ice caps is going to melt and drown. You can say all of that, and those things are true. And nevertheless, if you're here, that means you came with a solution. You came with the antidote. You came with the entangled love. And as you change and heal your consciousness, because of quantum entanglement, you are consciously shifting the consciousness of all those around you because we are one. So in the moments that you forget that, when you become depressed and dispirited, let's go back to indigenous wisdom. Let's go back to the wisdom that mitochondrial Eve had. And all the indigenous healers know what happens when we get dispirited, when we are not honored, when our boundaries are not honored. There's something we can do. Oh, before I say that, do I have time to tell a story? Let's see, do I have time to tell a story? Yes, I'll tell the quick version of it.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll tell the quick version of it. I'm not sure what culture the story comes from, but it moves me so much that I memorized it. At once upon a time, the creator God of earth, not of the multiverse, not of all of life, but the creator of earth, this one planet, is a raven god. He was half man, half raven. So when his raven body covered his human body, and at time when he wanted to be human, he could just unpeel his ravenness and become a man again. And after he created Earth, he said, I don't want to be far from this. I just love this creation so much. I'm gonna hang out. I'm not gonna go off to another place and create something new. I want to hang out here. So he was just soaring over the ocean he created. And he saw this magnificent giant whale come up. And he said, what is that? And he just saw how majestically it would jump up and dance and then fly back into the ocean and disappear. And it would come back up, and he's like, oh, it came back. And he was so enthralled by this peekaboo. He was just like, I'm fascinated. And he wanted to know what's down there. What is below? Where is he going? He says, well, the only way I'm going to know how to do what he does and see what he sees is to be inside of him. Because, I don't think I can swim. So the raven goes inside the whale. The whale welcomes the creator God and says, come in. And he comes in, and the whale is comfortable. The raven is comfortable in the whale and looks around and starts to look outside of the eyes of the whale and just notices all of the wonderful creatures and sees what's under the water and just is amazed at the world that the whale lives in and said, oh, this is something. And then as the whale jumped out the water, the raven can see what the whale sees in the air, the other birds, the other natures, what's on the earth, and is fascinated. Then after a few moments, the raven sits down and just relaxes. And then all of a sudden, he notices this beautiful woman dancing joyfully.
Can you come off your screen? People want to see your beautiful face.
I'm so sorry. I forgot about that.
No worries. We want to see you. There you go.
Okay. Hi. Okay. He saw the beautiful woman dancing and flaying her hair and doing all these things. And he just was like falling in love with her. And he's like, oh, who are you? And this woman peacefully and joyfully said, I am the heart and soul of the whale. Well, I'm the raven god, and I love you, and I would love to take you with me back home to the sky. And she says, oh, no, I can't leave. I'm the heart and soul of this whale. I belong here. This is my home. But if you'd like to stay here, then we can engage in what love can come from us. But this is my home. This is where I belong. And if you can be here with me as I dance my joy, then yes, I consent to marry you. And the raven said, oh, it's not so bad here after all. I guess I'll stay. Well, one time when the well went up, his spout opened up and let in this gorgeous sunlight down through the spout. And the way it enwrapped the woman started to glow and transform it into something even more magical and mystical. And the raven says, oh my goodness, I have to have her. I have to own her. She has to be mine. I need to take her away from me. I don't want to even share her with this whale. I need to take her away from here. She's mine. I love her. I've got to have her. And then he snatched her in his claws. He put back his raven on. I'm sorry, I forgot to say he had become a man. So he was even more interesting to her then, not as a raven. But when he wanted to take her, he became the raven and he put her in his claws. And as soon as the whale came up to the air and opened his mouth, he flew out with her, snatching her away from the whale, cutting off the cords, ripping her apart, and then as he left and fly high, he saw the whale writhing in pain and crying, and he couldn't take the sound of the whale wailing. It hurt him so much. He said, oh my. And then he looked down at his woman and he could see that she was shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And he didn't understand. And he said, oh, well, once I get her to my tree, she'll be better. And he kept hearing the whale thrashing and thrashing until it went silent. And then as he flapped and flapped and flapped and got to his tree, the whale washed up to the shore where it died. And then when he got to his tree, he saw that the woman had shrunk so much that she was gone. And he couldn't understand. Where was his beloved? What had he done? And in that moment, he understood their quantum entanglement, their oneness, and how they needed each other. Even though they looked so different, no, they were one. And his grief, he stood there by the whale body, took off his raven clothes, was a man, and held onto the whale and wailed and cried for weeks and weeks and weeks. He stood there on the beach and just cried because he was beginning to understand life on earth. He had created it, but he didn't understand it. He didn't know how everything was connected. And he wailed and he wailed. So Raven had not honored her boundaries. He had not honored her request. He had not listened to her. He took what he wanted because he could. And so many of you have gone through experiences where you had someone take from you something that didn't belong to them, something that you didn't give. You've had times when you were ignored, where your pleas were not listened to. Somewhere your heart and soul had been damaged or broken. And you may think because of that, you can't give your medicine to the world. You can't be who you came here to be because it's broken. And I know all about being broken and damaged. That happened to me. But I'm here to tell you, your brokenness and that experience is actually the part that makes your medicine the healing balm that it is. You can't have medicine if you've never experienced poison. Most poisons contain the antidote to it. And in the same way, your trials and tribulations contain the medicine, contain the antidote. So one of the ways that, we heard from Shay about honoring our bodies and our boundaries, we have got to learn how to set up those clearly defined boundaries of who we are and why we're here. And we also have to remember, how do we get back to healing ourselves, reestablishing ourselves? And so there are 4 questions that a shaman, if you went to a shaman, would ask you when you came broken, feeling too small, feeling like you don't know your purpose, you don't know why you're here, feeling like it's punishment or curse to be here. The shaman would say to you, oh, when did you stop dancing? And in all of your seriousness and passionate about the world, oh yeah. And then when did you stop singing? You may think, I don't have time for singing. I don't have time for dancing. I gotta work 2 jobs. I gotta do this and that. So, when did you stop being enchanted by stories? And then the shaman would ask you, as our dear Cindy let us know from her tradition, would ask us, when did you flee from the beauty of silence? So it is counterintuitive, but when the raven started to cry and cry and cry, he turned his grief into a dance, and he began to do the first song that had ever been released on earth came from that raven. And the first dance that was done on earth came from that raven, who was alchemizing and transmuting the grief that he caused. He was able to heal the brokenness that he set forth. He was able to turn it around because he was reconnecting with the earth. He was reconnecting to his essence, which is where the song is, which is where the dance is, where stories are. hearing stories and hearing the wisdom in stories helps us to return to our wholeness and to remember who I am. Because when we get broken, we forget who we are. We forget why we are. But it's time to remember who we are because we're medicine and we're interconnected. And as we heal ourselves, we're healing those around us, all those connected to us on the invisible red thread that's in the red earth, that's in the red ochre, that's in the red blood of our first mother. All of that makes us siblings. We are all one. All my relations, as the Native Americans say, we're all related. We heal each other. So if we want the war to stop, cancel. If we desire the war to stop, we have to stop warring with ourselves. Oh, I'm not good enough here. Or if only my face was different. Or if my body was different. Or if I was smarter. Or if I was this. This war that we're waging on ourselves is being outpictured in bullying, in attacks, in the racist acts. It's being bullied, it's being mirrored in war. So we have to heal that war in ourselves, knowing that in our interconnectedness, we are sending out the sign for love and healing in others. And they'll welcome it because they are us. You know, one of my favorite expressions when I start feeling like somebody is an other and they shouldn't do that and nah, they're wrong. And when I hear that, I said, Anasuya, they are you cleverly disguised as them. You are me, cleverly disguised as you. And when I remember that, I send love to them by loving myself. I send prayers of healing to them, that they be healed of this wrong action, they be healed of this way of being that's causing so much pain. I send it to myself because they are me. So whatever I don't like in another person, I just have to look within because it's over here. And our young people, you are here and you came at this time to deal with the climate problem, to deal with the race problem, to deal with the gender problem, to deal with all the ways that people have been othered and in a box. Your medicine is to heal that. You are the new ambassadors of love. You're the new ambassadors of love that we need, that we call for. You are our ancestors' greatest prayer come true. You are so needed. Our ancestors dreamed you up. They went through horrible things. They went through so many things in their journey of man to get you here. That's how important you are. They sacrificed so much to make sure you got here. And now that you're here, welcome. You're needed just as you are, with your broken parts, with your damaged ending, with that heart of love, with your sadness and with your laughter. You are needed. Welcome. Welcome home to you. Thank you.
Wow. That was so poignant. Oh, I just want to sit with that a little bit. That story, you are a great storyteller. And the other, it's so important to bring into our consciousness. We are all interconnected. We are all each other. There is no other.
There's no other.
Mm-hmm. It's so important.
That gives me peace. Because otherwise I feel so small and everything seems so big. And
yeah,
when I think about there's someone my age on the other side of the planet who's asking the same questions.
Yeah.
May not even be in a woman's body, maybe a 5-year-old, maybe a 90-year-old man, I don't know. But there's someone just like me asking the same questions and we can connect.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them, I can feel them, I can know them. Mm-hmm. It's my choice.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's in my power.
Exactly. Empowering each other with that capability of knowingness, knowing that we are all thinking the same thoughts, wanting to solve the same problems, putting our...
it's just fear, the isms.
Yeah.
The isms is just is a manifestation of fear.
Yeah.
Whether it's hate, it's fear, whether it's racism or sexism, or Islamophobia or anti-Semitism, it's all fear.
Mm-hmm.
We think it's all hate. No, it's not all hate. It's all fear of that which is we call the other.
Yeah.
And what we do with fear, we want to squash it.
Well, there's two energies I've always felt in the universe, fear and love.
It's only fear and love.
Right. So the love is transcending all the fear. It's the omnipresent language of the universe, in my opinion.
Yes.
I know Jim had to be pulled away for a press conference, so we're holding space for him.
Oh, nice.
Light around that we can gain some insight that will be positive for the Disclosure Act to pass.